Hi friends, Mindy here. Welcome back to another little craft with me session. First of all, excuse my inky fingers. I was getting messy with a different project earlier today. But what I'm going to be doing today is trying to use up the rest of this 6x6 paper pad. This is a pad that I have had forever. I looked at actually the copyright on this is 2012, so I don't know that that's when I bought it necessarily, but this is a super old paper pad. So it's just been sitting around. I don't really use a lot of 6x6 papers. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you on fast forward and just try to make as much as I can out of this paper pad. Just trying to finish it up and get it into something that's usable for some journals that I have coming up. And the color schemes are going to be great for some botanical journals that I'm working on. And so I really want to just kind of sit down and create, and I thought I would take you along for the ride. So if you like this kind of video, let me know. I'm not obviously going to do this in real time, but if you'd like to see a real-time video, let me know about those too. I know some people like them, some people don't, but I'm just going to put you on fast forward and see how many things I can make. I know this is not a full paper pad. Originally this was 36 sheets and I have used some out, but I'm just going to make as much as I can, as quickly as I can, and we'll see what we end up with at the end. So I'm going to put you on fast forward and we'll see what happens.
Okay, so I'm just going to start with a random piece of paper. This was actually tucked into the front of the paper pad, and it already had a crease in it from, I guess I must have started using it for something else. I don't know. And so I'm just going to use the fold that's already there, and I just made another fold with the top half, and I'm just going to create basically like a little ephemera holder. This can either tuck into journals, or I'll send it along when I send out journals or whatever with some happy mail. I like to include extra little bits of things. And so this is just a nice way to be able to do that. So I'm going to have a few of these on hand. I'll make some other ones on camera where I actually, do the scoring and everything. But for this one, it already had that one fold in there. So I rounded the corners of the top flap, and then I want to include a closure at some point. But for today, I'm just going to use a piece of ephemera to kind of hold everything down. On the other ones that I create, I might leave those and add like an eyelet with some twine or something kind of wrapped around it. There's a lot of different ways to add a closure. For right now, I'm just kind of creating the base of everything. So this one you can kind of see I have decorated with the little ephemera piece as the closure, but I'm not going to be decorating the rest of the things that I make in this video. I'm just really creating the bases for things. So pulling out this next page, it has this beautiful little scene on the bottom right hand corner with these birds, and so I just folded that in half because again, this is a 6x6 paper pad, so these are not going to be huge if I decide to fold them or whatever. So I folded it in half, and I'm just going to make a really tall pocket here. And so I'm just gluing this up on the bottom side and along the edge here. And then this will fit a long skinny tag of some kind. I'll actually make one later on in the video. And then another idea I had, which I had actually seen Margaret at Seven Plaza just make these not too long ago. And so I thought I would try my hand at making just a handmade envelope. Now I have an envelope punch board, but I wanted to try her way just to kind of see. And so basically you take a square piece of paper and you want to find the dead center of that. So you kind of go corner to corner and make a dot. That's what I did with the lines. And then you fold the two side pieces in right to the center, just touching, not overlapping. And then you fold up the bottom section, and then that will become the envelope part. And then you fold over the top section, and now you have your envelope flap. It's really pretty simple to do. And the only thing that I need to do is cut out those little tiny triangle sections there. And so this just will keep everything so that it folds really nicely and cuts out some of the bulk. So I'm just going to trim that out with my scissors. I will also erase my little pencil marks that you can see in there. But I'm just kind of cutting these right along those crease lines just to get, like I said, get the bulk out of all of that. And then I will glue this together. Again, going to just erase my little crosshairs there and then fold everything back together. I did decide to round both of the corners. You could cut this off straight if you wanted to. I kind of like that it adds that extra envelope look to it. So I'm just adding some glue here to the flaps. And now I have a little envelope that I can use as a pocket, or I can put it in as Happy Mail or whatever. And then there was this one page that I had that had like a collage, just what am I trying to say? It just looked like it was collaged in the background. And so I was trying to decide how I wanted to use this. I really love all of the images on this page. And so I decided to just create a couple pockets. So I cut it at 3 inches, and I'm going to make some gusseted pockets. So I am along the bottom on this first one. I am scoring this at like 1/4 of an inch. In the end, I ended up doing like 1/2 inch. Came in 1/2 inch from either side. And I'm just going to fold this. And the reason I'm using my scoreboard, well, obviously to get, straight lines, but also this paper is pretty thick paper. And so what I was noticing is when I didn't use the scoreboard, the paper would sometimes try to crack. And so using a scoreboard like this, a scoring tool, you can even use your paper trimmer and use it that way. But having the scoring on it just helps it so that it's not cracking. So I did the same thing with that other piece of paper. And now I have another page here that I'm going to score. I want to make some more of those envelopes that I kind of made earlier, but I want to sort of tweak the measurements of the actual little, I'm going to call them ephemera holders because that's what I'm going to use them for. So I did just try to change up how and where I put the folds for like the top flap and the bottom flap. In the end, what really ended up working for me most was I would do a fold or a score at 2 inches and a score at 4.5 inches. And that gave me a good size pocket, I felt like. It gave me a good overlap still, but it gave me enough room to be able to hold everything in there. So at this point, I was just kind of trying different iterations of 1.5 inches for the flap and whatever, just trying to kind of eyeball and see what ended up working. I did make multiples of these, and so the measurements that I ended up with were 2 inches and 4.5 for the scoring. And then you can see here again, just doing the glue on those folds. And I did, like I said, I did several of those. And now I have another page that has those birds, and I want to be able to utilize those. And so what I'm going to do is another type of ephemera holder, but this time I'm going to be using 2 pieces of 6x6 paper. I've created these before. It's been a while. I actually did these, I think, in my 100-day project last year. But basically you take the 2 6x6 papers and you fold them each in half, and then you're going to kind of glue them. You kind of nest them inside each other, if that makes sense. And then but not completely. You want to leave 1 inch or 2 gap. And then you can see I'm just kind of gluing there on the sides, and I'm going to fold this second piece up in there. And what this will do is create a pocket and a flap on this side. And then here I'm going to glue down the pocket on the back side. So it's basically a 2 pocket kind of ephemera holder. And I have enjoyed making these before. It's a good way to use this size of paper. And again, it holds bigger ephemera. I can tuck stuff in there and include it with some journals and things as I send them out. I do round all of the corners for this particular project, and I will probably come back again and make some type of closure. But you can see here are the 2 pockets with that one, and you can even stick it inside a pocket in a journal. So I decided with this one, I wanted to create a little like flip out pocket. So I trimmed it down just a little bit, and now I'm trying to figure out where I want to score this. So I scored like 1/2 inch on the right, and then I folded the other section in half. So this little half inch section will get glued down to a page, and then the pocket will flip out. It just gives another way to have like some extra writing space in a journal. I did put a little thumb notch up there at the top, and I'll kind of show how this looks on a page. So there's a couple different ways that you can glue it down. You can glue it kind of as a wrap around, sort of like this, or you can glue it the other way, but you kind of get the idea here. If you glue it this way, it just becomes a little piece that flaps out. And so I didn't want to lose the little bird that was on the corner, so that's why this one will fold out from like the left side, and just gluing this closed. And then there was this other beautiful page here that I am going to trim down. And I decided to make this one section of this, the little tall tag for the pocket that I had created earlier. I cannot remember exactly. I feel like it was like 2.5 inches, I want to say. And then I will use this paper to create a long pocket. So, or really a tuck spot. I'm just going to cut a slant on one side, and I'll show you what this kind of looks like when it's attached to a page. It will just kind of sit in the corner like this, and then that gives a way to tuck something like a big journaling card or a big tag or whatever in there. And then this page I'm going to take, and I'm going to create another one of those kind of double pocket ephemera holders. So I took 2 pages that I felt like coordinated really well, folded them both in half, and I'm just using my bone folder to get really good creases on these, trying to line this one up better than I did on the first one, and then gluing those side sections down to create the 2 little pockets that I need. And of course I'm getting glue everywhere, but that's okay. And then again, I will round the corners on the little flap, and then I have my 2 little pockets for some fun happy mail. And then this page I cut in half, and I'm going to make 2, again, these are going to be little like pocket flip outs, but these are just obviously smaller pockets because the paper is only 3 inches tall. But these work great for like little small tags, or because I like to use different sizes of papers in my journals, having some smaller pockets and flip outs and things, it just helps so that not everything is too big for, you know, some of the pages when I add smaller like hymnal pages and that kind of stuff into my journals. So I thought about making this into just like a gusseted pocket, but in the end I just glued it down as a regular old pocket with a little flip out section, again using my thumb notch here for just to indicate that this is a pocket on both of these. And then I will glue those down. So this little punch is from Wear Memory Keepers, and I use it sometimes, but most of the time I end up using my big circle punch. But for these smaller pockets, I really needed a smaller thumb, a little thumb notch. So I pulled out another page, and this one kind of went wonky. I wasn't really sure what I had in my mind to do something, and it just really wasn't working. So I kind of had to make do. I sort of improvised on this one. So I wanted to create like a double pocket look to this, and it just wasn't working. And so what I ended up doing was just creating a couple of tuck spots out of it. You can kind of see, I thought I would maybe just use this as a pocket, and then it was just kind of bulky at the top. So what I decided to do is just glue these little flaps down, and then I'm going to cut this paper in half, and then right down the middle. And then this will give me 2 little kind of tall tuck spots. And then I may trim the little top point, because sometimes I don't really care for that super extreme point up at the top. Like, but this is how this will look on a page. And again, might trim it off there, but we'll see when I go to actually use it. And then I decided to create yet another envelope using Margaret's method here. So just adding my pencil line crosshairs there in the very, very center. And then I thought I was going to try to use my scoreboard, but it just was going to be too complicated to make sure that I got it straight. So what I ended up doing to kind of prevent this from cracking is I folded this over just very, very gently. It's not even really like a hard fold at this point. I just kind of very gently folded it over, and then I did the same thing with the bottom section. So I didn't go directly in with my bone folder, and this actually worked out really well. So once I get everything kind of folded into the proper shape, then I'll come back through with my bone folder once everything is nice and folded here, and that actually worked out really well. I didn't have any cracking with the paper that way. So again, rounding the corners here with my little corner rounder, and I like to do the inside section too, but like I said, you could cut that straight off if you want to, cut it straight across, or fold it in on itself if you wanted to, however you want to do that. But I like to round it, and then I just trimmed out those little triangles and then glued that closed. So this is everything that I created. I have one little tall pocket. I had these 2 gusseted pockets. I have a couple of these little envelopes that I created. And then these 2 little flip out pockets that are about, they're only 3 inches tall. And then this tall, skinny flip out pocket. And then these little ephemera holders, these are the thing I think I actually created the most of, but these are just going to be great for sending off in some happy mail. So I'm happy to have all of these, and I think they'll even be cute inside of a journal. So then I have this tall pocket with this tall tag, these 2 or 3 like corner tucks, and then my 2 double pocket ephemera holders. So that's it for me. So if you liked this video, that's also finishes up my little paper pad. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, consider joining my Facebook group. All that information will be in the description, and until next time, bye.